I had only been away from my property for 3 weeks. When I came back, something immediately felt wrong. My neighbor's HOA had built a luxury, resort-style swimming pool. The problem was, half of it was sitting on my land. I walked over to ask who had approved the construction. Before I could finish my sentence, the HOA president started yelling. She insisted the pool belonged to the community now. Apparently, she believed I had no right to question it. I showed her the original property survey I received when I bought the land. Every measurement clearly marked the true boundary line. The pool crossed several feet onto my property. Even with the evidence in front of her, she refused to believe it. She laughed as if the documents meant nothing. Then she claimed HOA rules were more important than my property rights. Several neighbors even applauded her confidence. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just a misunderstanding. That evening, I sat on my porch thinking about every legal option. I wasn't interested in shouting or starting a fight. If the HOA wanted to ignore my property rights, I would stay completely within the law. That's when the idea for a manure pit came to mind, and everything changed. The next morning, a large excavator rolled onto my property. Every permit had already been approved by the county. The workers knew exactly where to dig. The HOA had no idea what was about to happen. Linda stormed across the neighborhood, demanding the workers stop immediately. She insisted the HOA had authority over everything nearby. The crew politely asked one question. "Do you own this property?" She couldn't answer. A county surveyor arrived to verify every measurement. He confirmed the construction stayed completely inside my property line. The excavation was 100% legal. For the first time, Linda looked genuinely nervous. By afternoon, the first truckloads arrived. The pit wasn't illegal, dangerous, or against county rules. It was simply a legal agricultural manure storage area. The smell changed the atmosphere around the pool almost instantly. Within 2 days, the resort pool was practically deserted. Families stopped spending time near the diving board. The HOA couldn't blame me because I had broken no laws. And this was only the beginning of Linda Parker's biggest mistake yet. That evening, the HOA called an emergency board meeting. Residents demanded answers about the unbearable smell. Linda insisted everything was Marcus's fault, but nobody could explain how he had broken a single law. The very next morning, the HOA hired an attorney. He carefully reviewed every survey, deed, and county record. After several minutes of silence, he delivered the news Linda didn't want to hear. The pool had been built across someone else's property line. The county opened an official investigation that same afternoon. Inspectors photographed every corner of the pool. Measurements were checked more than once. The evidence was becoming impossible to dispute. The residents who once supported Linda were losing patience. They had paid thousands in HOA fees for a luxury pool. Now they couldn't even enjoy it. Their frustration quickly turned toward the HOA leadership. To eliminate every doubt, the county ordered a second survey. The results matched the first one perfectly. The pool had crossed onto Marcus's property by several feet. There was no longer any room for debate. Even after seeing the surveys, Linda refused to admit she was wrong. She demanded Marcus remove the manure pit immediately. Marcus quietly reminded her that it was entirely on his own property. The silence that followed spoke louder than any argument. The sheriff returned after receiving another complaint from the HOA. He reviewed the county inspector's report before saying a word. Everything Marcus had done was completely legal. This time, there was nothing the HOA could demand. A formal county notice was delivered that afternoon. The HOA was instructed to address the property encroachment. Ignoring it could lead to serious legal consequences. For the first time, Linda looked completely speechless. Engineers calculated what it would take to fix the mistake. Relocating part of the pool would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The board members stared at the estimates in disbelief. Everyone realized how expensive one bad decision had become. Marcus never celebrated the HOA's problems. He simply waited for the legal process to run its course. Everything he had done stayed within the law. The biggest twist in the story was still waiting just around the corner.